Hello, everyone. Welcome to Between the Lines, the podcast where two best-selling authors give you a little peek at our lives behind the scenes, sort of what our writing lives are like and how we get going day to day and make this writing career happen. Today, we're going to try to touch on a few subjects. Let's see. We came up with it right before we pushed record. So if I remember right,
because we like to plan.
Yeah, that's right. We're pre-planners, as you can obviously tell. But yes, I wrote it down. We're going to talk a little bit about what books came out from us in 2025 or 2024. We're going to recap the year.
And then we're going to, Devon put it a moment ago, recrap the year.
Recrap the year, yes. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what our plans are right now for 2025, with a caveat that plans change, but this is where we're at right now at the beginning of the year and what we're hoping to happen. So we're going to start with that and see how far we get. So take it away, Di. What came out in 2024?
Well, I just want to say there's something about paving the way to somewhere if best laid plans and all that. So hopes and dreams versus plans.
Those are also good. Also good.
So yeah, last year I released a book on character development, quick and dirty guide to character development, with the idea that if you are writing, you can just dig into this book. You can look at some stuff and then you can go try it and look at some stuff and go try it. And it's quick and dirty and it's fun. And I think it's worthwhile. Anyway, and then
now I want to stop you there for just a second. That came out of the fact that you have taught on the MFA level university courses for creative writing, right?
Yeah. Well, that, and I taught undergraduate too. So I've taught college at all kinds of levels. So yeah, nice. It came a lot out of that. So
because you've seen a lot of students and you've seen a lot of the basic things that they need, and
and it also came out of my own style. I have a whole ton. If I could switch, I have an iMac, so my computer is my camera and all that. But if I could, I have all these books around on so a lot of them on writing and things, and the trouble for me with those is when you read them, you read and read and read and read and read and read it, and then you don't go do something. And I'm more of I want some tips and quick things, and I want to be able to get in and get out and write. So that was kind of the theory too behind that.
Nice. Okay. And what else did you have come out?
I re-released my Path books, Path of Fate, Path of Honor, and Path of Blood, which were my very first series to get published, which was kind of exciting. So I got my rights back and I republished those with new covers that are so pretty. And then I published a couple of short things. One's a story that I really like. It's just this little romantic, but also not romantic, second chance lover sort of story called isn't it funny? I can't even remember the name of it right now.
But you love it. It's got a great title. I don't remember the title.
I remember my working title was Hangry. Hangry. I'm hungry and I'm angry.
Was it something about deal with a demon or something? Is that something like that?
It's about demons, and it's not my demon divorce story, which was the other one. My demon divorce story is called Till Death, as in Till Death Do You Part. And that was a novella, and I don't know what gave me the idea for that, but I just started writing it, and then it was just there, and I like it, so I gave it out into the world and said, "Fly, be free." So nice. That was kind of my year, and then I've been writing, trying to, and stuff like that. But yeah,
that's really
so. How about you?
Yeah, I had a much lighter release year last year. Some of my books, the Wayward books, and the I think Wayward was the only thing that came out from Graphic Audio, which is a audio studio that does like radio play versions of books. So they do like sound effects and different actors for different voices. And they also truncated a little bit to make, like, I don't think they always say he said, she said, they just actually kind of act it out,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I know all of my ordinary books are out through that because I just got to notice that Root of All Evil, which is the last Ordinary book, is celebrating its 1 year at Graphic Audio. So, and they have a sale on it. So I'm like, oh, it's been a year since that came out. Good that they're keeping track.
Very cool.
Very nice. But I do think that no, I think that's all that came out. I think just the Wayward book came out from Graphic Audio. But otherwise, which that would have been Wayward Skies, I think. See, I'm just as bad as you with my title.
I know, right?
Wayward number three. Number 3 is what it came out.
That's because our working titles, the titles for so long are in our mind are the working titles, right?
Oh, no, I don't really do working titles.
Well, I mean, the things we name them to like Wayward 1, Wayward 2, Wayward 3.
Right. Well, yeah, numbers. Yeah. But yeah.
But that's how they're in our brains.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, but what actually came out this year is Wayward Devils, which is, or Souls of the Road number 4, which is the Wayward books we're talking about. That came out. And it's definitely crossing over with the Ordinary books. You will finally see some characters from Ordinary all getting involved in that one. And we're starting to aim toward the more mishmashing into the Ordinary books with this series, because it's a sister series. And then I had a standalone that I just loved it. And it was one of the works that started my career. And when I was first trying to write, and I wrote a 200-word short story, 200-word flash fiction, with this concept in it, it eventually turned into several short stories, and then I wrote it into its own novel, and that's Nursery Crimes. And it's really a standalone. It says it's number 1 in the Lost Fables mysteries, but I'm not sure if many more will follow this one, but they could. So I left that open, that there could be more in that series, but Nursery Crimes, which is my homage to noir and Chandler and Hammett and fairy tales. It's the rhymes and crimes kind of style with lots of puns. It's very silly. Anyways, that came out this year too, which I was really glad to get it done, because it was one of my beginning works that made me think that I could be a writer. And it was really fun to see it come full circle to turn into something that I could share with people. So that came out this year, or in 2024. And that was it for me. Just those 2 books. Hopefully 2025 will be more books coming out.
So everybody needs to know that they heard it here. If you want more Nursery Crimes, you need to bombard Devon with more requests for Nursery Crimes.
Right. Yes. Right. That will work. I don't know if that will work. Okay. So that's 2024. Pretty good. We also did, we both have a Patreon going. Did we start that? Each of us started our Patreons in 2024. Or was that 2023? I don't remember.
Time blurs. I
want to say
worked hard. I worked more on my Patreon this year, but I have not, I don't think, done enough. And so I'm working on getting more constant, regular, and all of that.
And I think community. I do think we started our Patreons in 2023 because I ran Nursery Crimes through chapter by chapter first for my Patreons as a bonus for being a Patreon. And after it ran through, I did all the cleanup and revising and tightening and making it into novel. It was a good quality that went through Patreon, but it was still a draft. And then I fixed it all up, and it didn't come out until 2024. So I know it took me several months to do that. So I think we did start Patreon in 2023 because it took months to actually put it out chapter by chapter, because I did it like every 2 weeks. So I think it took like 6 months or whatever to put it all out. So Patreon in 2023. Yeah. I'd like to do more for my Patreon too. I'm trying to find that balance of I'm not somebody who has a lot of behind the scene extra generated content, as in, I don't write a lot that I throw away. Or write a lot that I'm like, well, I'm not going to do anything with this. What I write, I tend to put out. But I did have a short story last year that I gave free to my Patreon people. And then I gave them it as a ebook free to my Patreon people. It's just a short story, and then I gave it also in my newsletter. I gave a link to it for free. So if people were joined into any of those places, they got this free Ordinary short story about Frigg, the goddess Frigg, and how she decides to first go to Ordinary, basically. It's short, it's funny, and I will put it out for sale here coming up this year. It'll be cheap because it's a short story. So it's, I don't know, 99 cents, $1.99 or something. But that was it for me for putting out fiction last year.
It's still a lot. You were busy.
You're all
busy with other stuff.
Right.
As
we're
a
all
writer,
busy.
As a
Yep.
writer, that's still pretty busy, pretty productive.
Yeah, it's not bad. Looking at it and kind of getting the hang of my schedule now, I think I can do more and still have fun doing more. And so that's what I'm hoping for this year. Chris, I kind of hope for that every January. I'm always thinking, I'm going to do so much and get so much done.
Yeah, well, that's why this is the hopes and dreams.
It is. It is. Although I've mapped it out, which I do every January, and
Yeah.
and I know it doesn't go to plan always, but having an idea of what I want to come up in 2025 is helping me focus to get stuff done.
Yeah, and my problem is I have an idea, but I keep it's hard for me to actually write down like I want to do this by this time, because what happens is I lately everything gets derailed, and so I sort of get really gun shy about writing that down, because then if I miss it, then I'm just a mess. But I need to start giving myself more deadlines and seeing if I can hit them, even if they're not super significant deadlines. I've got to do that.
Well, they don't
And
have to be word count deadlines. They can be time deadlines. Like I will put an hour in every day this week on writing, or I'll put, 10 minutes in every day or twice a week or whatever. You can do
yeah, well,
smaller
that's
bites.
what I'm doing as far as the writing goes. But in terms of like, well, we were going to talk about plans for this year. So let's talk about plans for this year.
Do it.
So obviously, you and I have talked about I'm working on figuring out ways to plot books out so that I can have a better sense of what I'm doing as I write. Because one of the things that I do is I get so far, and if I pants, right? And there's nothing wrong with pantsing. There's just nothing wrong. But for me, sometimes that gets me kind of frozen, because I don't know where things are going. So I have to stop and think it through. But the problem is often my brain doesn't want to think it through. It only wants to think through a couple of steps ahead. And so it's frustrating, and it's sometimes debilitating. So I'm working on trying to develop a plot process that will work for me, even if it's just bare bones plot. So I'm doing that. And that actually I want to do for the next three. I want to plan in groups of three the next job books, which are the Mission Magic books, and the next everyday disaster books, which are my fun and funeral books, right? They're called everyday disasters, but in my mind, they're always fun and funeral, even though that's just the title of the first book. So
In one of my series, the title of my first book was House Immortal, and my editor said, "What do you want to call the series?" I'm like, "I don't know. What do you think a good title is for the series?" She goes, "How about House Immortal?" So, like, the first book was the series title. I'm like,
yeah,
"Well, there you go." I mean, it
there
can
you
be that
go.
easy.
Yeah. So I want to plan those out and then start writing them, right? And both of us attend Rainforest, which is a writer's retreat up in Lake Quinault, on Lake Quinault in Washington. And the thing about that is it's 4 sessions. Unfortunately, this year you and I are not in the same session, but we go up there for 5 days and try to write fast as the wind, right? And so I try to go up there prepared for what I want to write on. And I want to write, I want to get it. Usually we try to figure out how many words we're going to get, right? So you're pretty good at getting between 20 and 30,000 words done there, right? And I hit or miss sometimes, but lately I've been hitting pretty well between 20 and 25 overall. So I want to get the first quarter, first third of the next fun and funeral book nailed
Which
down
would be
there.
how many words are you looking to try to hit?
Like I said, 20 to 25, just there. Even if I could, it's hard to say what the length is, because again, I tend to pant, so I don't know how the plot will match up with the words written, right?
Mm-hmm.
Overall. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
still learning that. So I want to do that. I want to get another fun and funeral book out this year. I would like to get another Mission Magic book out this year. The other thing that I would like, that I'm working on, is I got the rights back to the Horngate books, which are uh, it's 4, and then I also have written a couple of stories in there, and I want to re-release those, and I want to write a novella to go along with the re-release. Problem that I have is that the very first book I never got an electronic copy of.
Mm.
And for those of you listening out there, and Devon knows how this works, it used to be that the way you would do things is you would turn in your book electronically, and then they would do the copy edit, which is them reading over it and making corrections and consistency and etc. And then they would
And they
send you the
sent that
copy
to you in Track Changes, which is
in Track Changes,
electronic copy.
And you fix that, and then you'd send it back, and then they'd send you the proof pages, and the proof pages they'd send in paper. And the proof pages, and I think
PDF, uneditable PDF.
I haven't got it in an editable PDF.
It wasn't the whole manuscript. It was just the pages that they had proof issues with.
Really? I didn't get that. I got them printed out, a printed copy of the laid out manuscript. And you went, and I think they did it so I couldn't make many changes, right? I think that's why they did it for all their authors, because some authors want to make lots of changes.
It's why they did it in PDF too, because you could only agree or disagree with the pages that they had sent. And if I remember right, and then you printed out any that you found on your own and snapped it as a PDF and sent it back to them or something. It was crazy. Clunky. And part of it was so that you didn't have the final digital version of the corrected, best up-to-date version of the book. That was their propriety. It was their property, right?
Yeah. So I don't have the final up-to-date electronic copy of the first book. So I have to get the oldest version that I have, oldest in terms of closest to publication. And I have to take that version, and I have to get the print copy, which I have the print copy, and go through word by word, line by line, and make sure that it is in fact correct. Things are corrected, right? And I have to stop myself as much as possible from doing all kinds of new things in there, right? So that first book, the other 3 books, I have electronic copies that I was able to get, and they'll go easier. But the first book, I have to do that. And I've already got the covers. That's already, I have to write back cover copy again. I have to do all of that. But so getting that done, I'm not sure when I'm going to get that done. And again, that goes toward, I have to plan and make time and do it. And I am not the best person at planning and making time and doing it. Oh, and there's one other book that should be coming this year, which is the 4th and the Crosspoint books, which is with Bellbridge Books. And they're re-releasing them, and they've re-released the first 3, and the 4th one should be coming this year too. So that's coming out.
Have you written the 4th one?
The 4th one's done. Yeah, it was originally published. There was 4. If I want to write more, I have to finish out the series, and I do, but
Never mind. That's okay. Bellbridge is releasing that. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah,
so that they're releasing that, and so that'll come out. I don't know when, and so that's what my year looks like. But my major goals are to figure out how to plot, to write based on those plots, and to get the Horngate books going again.
I like it.
And to write that novella.
Nice. Sounds like a good and busy year.
Yeah. I just have to do it now.
That's doing it. Yes, that's the thing. It's like somebody was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about how we're really good at listening to writers or people or experts or whatever, or peers talk about how to do a thing. And we all, and I do this, we all go, yes, that sounds exactly like how I should do it. And then we just don't do it. Like we listen to it, but we don't do the action part of the doing it, right? We don't apply.
Well, I have been working toward figuring out the plotting stuff, and you know that, and I've been narrowing it down to how to do this approach, and I'm borrowing a little bit from you, a little bit from Save the Cat novel, and a little bit from Romancing the Beat. And
yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I think most writers just compile the structure that works for them, and however they best internalize story is how they will create plot structure. Excuse me. Just getting over being sick, so a little bit of a rough throat here. Okay, so I guess I'm up.
Your turn.
Yeah. So 2020 5, I have big plans because I always make giant plans in January because I think every January that surely I'm going to be a different writer this next year and I'm going to do things completely differently and so much more is going to get done. That's never once happened, but like hope springs eternal. So this year, this is the writer I think I'm going to be. I am currently writing a tie-in series to the Ordinary Magic books. So people have asked me, are you going to write more Ordinary Oregon books, more Ordinary Magic books? Which is, there's 9 books in that series. And I've always said, probably. I am doing the sister series, the Souls of the Road series, and there are some crossover characters there, but probably I'll write more in Ordinary. And people have also asked, well, is the 9th book in that series the end of the series? And I've said it's the end of that set of stories. Like it's that character's story end. So I keep calling it a soft ending. Yes, those 9 books come to an end. You can read them, never read another one, and you got a full series experience. Now I'm doing something a little different. I think Ordinary is such a fun little town, such a quirky little town with such great people.
It is.
Yeah, right.
If you haven't read them, just go out and read them. They're
light,
amazing.
They're fun, right? That they would lean really nicely towards some sort of more cozy fantasy mystery books. So this year I'm working to write 6 cozy fantasy mystery books. Have I ever written a cozy fantasy mystery book? No, I have not. Am I going to write 6 of them? You bet I'm going to try. So I'm on a learning curve too. The writing is the same. You sit down, you get the words out. I know the characters. I know the town. That's all really fun and easy for me. It's all built, but it's easy to go revisit. But I'm taking a new plot line sort of through Ordinary, which is we'll have a crime, we'll have to solve that crime. And, because it's a cozy, by the end of the book, that crime will be solved. Very similar to the Ordinary Magic books, but those are built more on an urban fantasy plot line, which is more like there's a big bad guy. There's some sort of a big showdown that usually involves some kind of magic battle of some sort. And I'm not saying that won't happen in the cozy fantasy mysteries, but cozy fantasy mysteries are more focused on solving that crime. So I'm going to be playing with a lot of characters that people will know from Ordinary. Like we have our favorites showing up. Everybody loves Than, which is Death. He's in there. Everybody loves that little pink unicorn demon queen, Extel. She's in there. Like we have Birdie, our Valkyrie, who runs all the festivals. Like we've got all of including our main characters from the other Ordinary series will be in there. Of course, they live there. So like they're all going to be there. So this year, my goal is to write 6 of those. I'm starting with just trying to write 3 of them. And actually, I'm just starting by trying to write 1 of them. And that's my goal in January, is to see if I can get one of those books fully drafted in the first month. And if I can, then my goal is to do that each month, try to get one fully drafted in a month, because they're shorter, because they're cozies. And see if they work as a story and are fun for Ordinary. So far, it looks like a good fit. So good. If I can write them quickly enough, I will have anywhere from 3 to 6 of those come out this year. And that's fun. So I'm hoping for that. And then I will be writing another Souls of the Road series. That'll be Wayward Gods. Again, that's moving that series closer to Ordinary too. We're going to have a big collision of all my series in Ordinary this year, awesome. I think. Yeah. Awesome. And so that'll come out this year too. And that's all that I have planned to come out, other than I am re-releasing the House Immortal series, which is my science fiction. It's kind of my Frankenstein girl who's immortal, fighting for the rights of her people. It's got time travel. It's got a little bit of a love story in there. It's it's kind of harder science fiction. And that series will be coming out here at the beginning of the year. I think maybe February, March, April, or March, April, May, right here at the beginning of the year.
The beginning of the year is now.
Is now, I know. Not in January, but maybe February. And so I have covers for that. Like you were saying you had covers for yours. My covers are by the late, great Lou Harper, who did so many covers for me. She passed away suddenly from a sickness that wasn't diagnosed until just really weeks before she passed. So scary. It's so sad. And she was an amazing artist, and I love her art. And she definitely was one of the first artists who came alongside me to start my indie career, and all the praise to her. And these are the last covers that she worked on for me, and I'll be able to put those out in the world. I'm really excited about that, and I love
Awesome.
them. So it's
Awesome.
going to be wonderful. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I'm working on this, still work. I'm hoping to finish soon. And I keep saying soon. And I'm like, well, why you did this plotting thing for the end of this. Why don't you commit to a thing, to finishing it? And it occurs to me, maybe I should. Uh, I'm not going to say it now though, because
You don't want
I'm
to
not going
jinx
to. I said
yourself.
I will commit to finishing, but I'm
Fair.
just not sure when. I want to
Just
look
not
at it.
publicly. You'll commit to it just
Maybe next
secretly
time.
to yourself. Yeah.
Maybe next time I will have a look, and I will come up with a committed time. And what it is it's this started out as a an idea I had, and I started writing the idea, and I realized, oh, this book isn't going to work. It needs stuff in front of it. So I started another book, and and then I to put in front of it so that the other stuff will work. And then I got there and I'm like, no, this isn't going to work either. It needs stuff in front of it. So this is the stuff in front of it, right?
Right. So you've got 3 books you know of, but you finally got to book 1 when you
Right.
thought it through.
And book 1 is at 80,000 words at this point, right? So it's close to done. It needs to I'm at the ending, but I just need to that ending is not it's the big crescendo, and it's going to take some writing. I figure maybe 20,000 words, but it's hard. I might need more, like 30. It's hard to say. So, and it's romance. It's romantic fantasy, but what happened was it started out, I wanted to write a romantic fantasy, or romantic sort of contemporary fantasy, magic, not quite urban fantasy, but more
paranormal romance.
I don't even know that. It's just kind of set in this town where stuff happens. And I don't even know. I just wanted to tell the story. I guess I didn't even think about it, but it doesn't have some of the pacing of urban fantasy and stuff like that. It definitely became more romantic, more romance as I went along. And I was fighting that. And I finally said, screw it. I'm just going to push the romance and see what it's going to be. I'm going to see what it's going to be. But writing romance for me is new. I mean, I have romantic stuff in my books, and there are romances for sure because I like romance, but I've never really pushed it really hard and made it
Right.
really important.
There are beats and tropes that go in romance plotting, just like there are beats and tropes that go in urban fantasy, just like there are beats and tropes that go in cozy mysteries. And if you're dipping into any of those genres, you're changing your beats and your tropes that you're putting into your writing, and if you're hewing closer toward trying to deliver, the book feels more romance, and it needs to be more of a romance fantasy instead of like a urban fantasy, which will have a romantic relationship in it often, then you have to follow those romance tropes closer and romance beats closer, right?
Yeah, and part of that involves more introspection in some ways for each of the characters, because both characters, both romantic characters, are on a journey together and apart, and they're both and interestingly enough, both are on a journey of the main external plot, which is the stuff going on, and also the romantic plot, which is the internal plot and stuff. So I think that's working. I can't wait to go back and read it as a whole and get a sense of where I know there's places where I've just overdone it, and there's places where I've got to shore up and stuff.
That's
like
what
that.
First drafts are for, though.
Yeah,
it's just
right,
you're telling
right.
yourself this story and letting the story tell you what it's going to be. I mean, I've
Right.
gone out with books and thought, oh, this is going to be X. And then I write the book and I'm like, wow, it turned out completely Y. And then I'm like, well, then let's make it the best Y it can be, because there's no way I'm going to jam that into an X type book, right?
Exactly. And
so
that's what happened with this. Exactly. Yeah, because I wanted it to be romantic, but I didn't know it was going to be full-blown romance, right?
Happens sometimes, yeah. And I think it's wise I think it's wise not to try to shoehorn a book that's naturally going toward a certain plot style or a trope or a genre, I guess I'll say. Don't try to shoehorn it into something else if it's just naturally falling. Like if it's easily falling into something, let your writing be easy. Follow it. Just go the easy road. Go the easy. Yeah, accept the gift. Go the easy road.
When I wrote Fun and Funeral, it was a gift book, and because I wrote it after the dumpster was elected the first time, and it was my escape book, right? And I think I wrote it in 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. It was just like boom, 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 and it was a gift. I just let everything hang out, and there were a couple of times as I was writing it, I thought, oh, my editor, the editors, I've had several, right? My editor would never allow this. No editor will allow this. And I'm like, but I get to be in charge and I'm doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did a lot of that. And through that book, I was just like, screw it, I'm going to do it. And I think people have been happy with that book. I do.
Well, I think there's that thing where people say your voice, your uniqueness, your perspective, your approach is what makes your book stand out. We can all write. There's a writer, I was in a writing group for a long time, the Wordos, and there's a writer, Jerry Oltjen, and he talks about you can give everybody a story idea, like a footstool, like, make this story idea about this one thing, and you're going to get such varied stories. No two writers are going to write the same story. So really it is that doing it your way, doing it because you want to do it, will make your work, stand out and be its own thing.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I'm slightly cracked, and I have gallows humor, and those things just happen in my books a lot. And so I just kind of let them come out, especially in those books. They come out a lot in those books, and the Mission Magic books. There's a lot of that comes out. And oddities. I like oddities. Like one of the Mission Magic books has tiny giants. Because of course tiny giants are fun.
Yeah. Why not? Why wouldn't you have it? Okay, well, Di, on that note, tiny giants, we have just hit about our 30 minutes or so that we're aiming for these little chats. Do we want to close it off with anything, or do we want to just zip out of here?
The thing we never talked about was how to close out with this.
No. Should we have a song and dance? No. No song and dance. No song and dance. No. Yeah, I guess what we want to say is that we're having a good time with this so far. We had originally said that we're going to do this about once a month, and we've done a little looking around. Hopefully the video is a little better this time and the audio is a little better. We're
and you can see both of us at the same time. We're hoping. So this is all improvements. We are definitely open to your questions, your ideas. Thank you so much to the people who commented on our first video. Yeah. I was so happy just to see people already say something. That was really great. And everybody who subscribed, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I feel like we're going to try to do something good here and create a little community. I love that. Right. That's what, me too. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
So we might get to this a little more than once a month. It's going to be a little fluid until we get our feet under us and figure out exactly what we want to do. But if you do want to hear something from us, or if you have a question for us, either about writing or reading or our lives or whatever, put it down below and we'll do what we can to answer it. We're trying to be open books about what our writing lives are like right now.
Yeah. And also, if you want us to try to answer it in video form, like in this forum, or if you want us to answer it,
or we'll just steal it and answer it in video form anyway. We'll just steal it, say that was a great question, we're going to answer that.
Magpies, we will take what we want.
That's right. It'll be fun for everybody to hear the answer, right? Yeah. So we really appreciate you stopping by. I guess what I will say is keep a notification bell. You can click on that down below, and that will let you know when we have a new video out, so that you don't miss any from us, especially since we're going to be a little unpredictable on our schedule to start. So click the notification bell, click like on this. It helps other people find it on YouTube. So hit the little thumbsy up button. Yep. And then
come visit our websites, come visit our social media if you feel like knowing us more.
Yep. And
all that's connected on our websites, which we put down there somewhere.
We'll put down below, and I'll try to put a link to some of the books that we talked about down below too. Actually, you'll find them all on our website. I guess that's the easiest way. Yeah. So until next time, just happy reading, people.
Happy reading, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah. We'll see you soon.